Welcome everyone to Friday with Friends. And this evening we're speaking with Mercedes Cuartero. Is that the correct pronunciation of your last name?
Cuartero, but that's fine.
Cuartero.
Yeah.
Cuartero. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. And the title of tonight's is one that you may not put into use automatically, but it's the courage of being spiritual, or the courage of spirituality. Mercedes, good evening to you.
Good evening.
When you hear that sentence, what's the first thing that comes in your mind? This courage of spirituality.
So, yeah, I've been thinking about it, and, a lot of times courage might feel big, but in my experience, it's really just a small step in believing in yourself, and touching base with your heart. For me, spirituality is that core of the heart, of a pure heart, really. So yeah, I'd say spirituality has been the method to purify that heart and then be able to act from that place. And yeah, that's
I like very much the verb you use there, to purify, and I want to touch on that again. But first, why does it take courage to be spiritual?
That's a good question. So for me, I think a lot of times spirituality is kind of going against the grain of what one is used to. Because we're so caught up with having to do daily tasks, and like in the Brahma Kumaris, we use the expression body consciousness. And to get through your day, you have to have some level of body consciousness. And then even the day you're born, you're just learning to use this body, and getting feedback from that, and getting feedback externally. So courage for me is just believing that there is something different, and there is another way to approach things, to see things, and it's coming from a pure heart. And for me, that's what soul consciousness really is. So yeah, courage in a sense is just taking that small step in another direction that I'm used to, and in the direction that resonates or aligns with who I truly am. Yeah.
So courage, is it more to do with the head, or is it more to do with the heart?
Good question. I think it's both. So yeah, because sometimes I think the head needs to figure out things, but the head does have a tendency to get too caught up with lots of things, and then that mess kind of accumulates in the heart, and then the heart will take it in. And I think it's both. What do you think?
Well, we always think with our head, right? And then we start to analyze. But if I start to think of the things that I need courage to overcome, it's always something that has affected me psychologically and emotionally.
Right.
And so it's embedded into the heart. So what I've shared with you, that just breaking apart that word courage,
right,
that the word in French for heart is coeur, and age. So the age of the heart, so that I need to have this strength in the heart in order to meet the demands that are upon my life, that in my mind, so here's where the mind is, in my mind, I don't know whether or not I have the ability to overcome. And so I'm experiencing fear, which might make me inhibit or shrink. And of course, I'm not going to have success. So courage is what allows me to take that step into the unknown and that's why we find spirituality, that I want to learn some type of a trust or faith in order to help me on my path, because I don't know if I could do it on my own, because I don't really know myself.
No, yeah, I like that a lot, especially when you mentioned fear. Definitely fear, the mind can run with that, and then it becomes embedded in the heart. And what you said about trust, I really think courage, you just need that small bit of courage, and its manifestation is trust. It's acceptance, it's surrendering, which is what a pure heart, a pure innocent heart is meant to be capable of. And yeah, but we wouldn't know if we didn't have the fear. We wouldn't
Well,
know
right.
if.
So the thing that I've been thinking about is not to be afraid of fear, that to have fear itself is not the bad thing. It's what I'm using to deal with the fear. And I'm going to share something that most people would never even think about, is that I use courage. I choose courage as a means of overcoming the fear. Fear does, courage doesn't mean I'm not afraid. It means I'm so frightened that my knees are shaking and tears are coming from my eyes, but I step forward. I step forward anyway, because I know that I have to do something. And so courage is a temporary thing that I need, where what courage is not, what I don't do is get into arrogance. So the opposite of courage is not fear. The opposite of courage is arrogance, because I'm finding some way to make me alone separate and disengage myself by either denying that it exists, which is my favorite method. I like to run away from my problem by not even looking at it.
A lot of people.
Yeah. It works. So denial has been our friend to save us. Mm-hmm. But then we realize at our stage of where we are now in our evolving self, that it's no longer my go-to thing that I'm using all the time, that maybe it doesn't work in my relationships with my loved ones. Arrogance and denial is not one of those tools that's going to work very well. So then I'm looking at myself, and that's what takes the courage, is to look at myself.
I was going to say that courage is about admitting to yourself, looking at things within, and then just admitting that, you know what, I'm capable of change. I deserve better. And I can take that small step in the other direction. And I'm scared. I have fear.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
And see, I think that I can't admit that I'm scared, because what will people think of me? But the fact is, they're not thinking about me. They're not thinking about me.
Exactly.
So that gives me, when I figured that out, it gave me the power and the freedom to experiment in public. So you can hide in plain sight, because everyone's concerned with themselves. So if my courage problem has to do with what others think, I can let that go, because they're not looking. They're on their cell phones.
Yeah.
I see your dog has come into the picture there.
Oh, yeah.
He's curly.
He's what?
He's curly.
Curly, yeah.
Yeah, he's curly. Yeah.
He's joining.
See, that's another thing. See, that is your response to that. You're allowing that to happen. Whereas you could be upset that he's part of it, because it's not the way you had planned. And so then you're undergoing unnecessary stress as a result.
Yeah.
Courage is as simple as acceptance. Courage. How about this? Courage is what it takes for me to accept reality.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or to accept ourselves.
Yes. Well,
to even just accept that fear, and that, just to recognize that, oh my gosh, I've been operating from this place of unworthiness. So Yeah, and in so many places, like you just need that tiny dose of courage. And from my experience, though, the real part where it gets interesting is the encouragement. Now how do I maintain it, and where do I take that encouragement from? So we're so used to feedback from, let's say, my body, if I'm trying to overcome like a health issue, or feedback from external attainments, but I think that's where the real courage starts to come in, that what, maybe I'm not getting that feedback that I was looking for, that I am in the right direction. So always touching base in where I'm getting that encouragement from. So
Even in the word itself, encouragement, coming from encouragement, when you think of encouragement, you don't think of, oh, it takes a great striving. It means you're trying to inspire.
right.
So there must be a relationship between not finding some great inner strength to overcome an obstacle, but inspiring through,
Mm-hmm.
and not through criticism. You don't think of courage as having
No.
criticism. You don't think of encouragement as being violent. Encouragement is giving. So
Yeah.
just by understanding that word is changing my thought of what courage is. It's not something that's so difficult. It just means to inspire.
Right.
And so to breathe, that's also an inhalation, is an inspiration. Let me breathe in
Yeah.
encouragement so that I can have courage. But
Yeah.
back to what you said earlier, and you've used it 2 more times since then, is the word to purify the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think all of us would like to have a big heart. We would like to be thought of as being big hearted, a full heart, generous hearted. But in order to become that, I first have to have a clean heart,
Yeah.
because it's just like in relationships with people, there's love going on, and so there's connection. But also, if there's attachment, also whatever is in that heart is also into me too, because I've hooked into it, and then there's pain involved when there's something that comes across that doesn't feel so good, and so I'm no longer encouraged. And
Right.
so in the process of this purification, of cleansing, it's really, I need the courage just to be able to look at myself. And I consider courage to be a temporary asset.
Mm-hmm.
When I reach my destination, I no longer need it. I only
Mm-hmm.
need it in process. So, and the real process is tolerating myself in the process of change. I had an argument with a friend today, and it just made me feel so bad.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't really an argument. I said something that hurt feelings. And so
Okay.
there didn't need to be an argument. There was that recognition and so then I have an opportunity. Well, how do I want to handle this? First thing you do is go down the laundry list of justifications for why what I said was okay. And then I realized, well, I can't find any of those. So at last resort, I said, well, do I have the courage to look at myself and see the things that I have done to create that? And then simply present that to the person that's been affected. And so I did that, and
Mm-hmm.
it stopped the flow of the energy. Whatever,
Mm.
it still takes its course, but at least I'm on the side. I can't control the results. I can control my behavior. Courage doesn't mean that everything's going to come out hunky-dory. It still
Mm-hmm.
means, I've already started. The ball has been thrown, and it's going to hit the
Exactly.
window. The window broke, and now you got to pay for it. So
Yeah.
that's just the way that it goes. But
I
it took
like that.
courage. It took
Yeah.
courage.
It's taking responsibility.
See, that's so hard when you think that accountability means that you're not good enough. See,
Mm-hmm.
that's the mistake we make. We think that to be accountable means I'm not good enough in your eyes, because now you look at me this way. And so I want to pretend it doesn't happen. And if it doesn't work, well, I just can't be friends with you anymore because you found out the truth about me and we can't let that happen. Rather than let me find out what this is in me that created that and let me remove that. And this is where the spirituality comes in.
Yeah.
It's the spirituality to take this process of purification. And that may sometimes this process of purification is different than what my dream was about life. And so I'm confronted with things about myself and maybe ways of being, maybe a religious way of I've been, attachment to my family, feelings about certain individuals, and all that has to be purified so that I don't continue to make mistakes blindly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And as I said earlier, for me, spirituality is that method to purify, because it's that foundational core belief that there's something beyond me, something where an unlimited source that provides this parental love or, unconditional encouragement. And that's my go-to. And that's, at least for me, has been the most useful tool of spirituality, where, yeah, if I can't find that courage, where I did take that first step, but now I have to take 100 more. Now you're getting the help, because you did show courage to begin with. You're starting to look at yourself. You're starting to, realize, oh, okay, I can redirect things, but I need help.
Yes. So what I gather from what you're saying is that you found a go-to source, an unconditional source, one that doesn't sway and that you can depend upon, because otherwise we realize with one another, we have expectations and disappointments with one another, and thereby my encouragement has lessened because I've experienced that, and it changes the way that I view life. I could become embittered. I could become resentful. I could become sad. I could just close myself off, all because I didn't have the right go-to place.
Right? Because we could be working on ourselves our whole lives and still not experiencing that love, or, still not even getting a glimpse of that pure heart that we truly are. We have to take help from an unlimited source. And that's where I think, that's where spirituality comes in. That's where the real courage, it's like constantly digging for something, and then, you realize, oh, I'm capable of much more. And there's so much more I could take from. There's so much more support out there. And it's not support from, like your attachments that can easily be confused as relationships. Or again, for me, it's like feedback, like how did I do at work today? Or did I make people happy? Or, how are the Google reviews? I don't know.
Yeah, it could be whatever I'm attached to, whatever I'm looking for as my support.
Right.
So spirituality is really kind of a preemptive strike to keep myself from feeling the pain of windmills in my mind,
Preemptive strike. Yeah, I like that.
Yes. Well, because I know this for a fact in my life of how much it supports me in any condition that's going on, that it seems like everything is in retrograde. But okay, I let me take a moment. And this is what is so practical, important, that I could say to anyone, is that you need to have the space. I need to have the space to handle what's coming. Some things are very small, I can handle them. Other things are bigger. And sometimes I have to juggle multiple things. You're juggling multiple things as a way of life every single day. And so you need a certain amount of encouragement to get you through your day. So your source must be consistent. Otherwise, you would start to feel sorry for yourself.
Right. Yeah. I'd say that space you're talking about for me is that spiritual practice. Yeah. And it's a regular thing that we have to nurture. And yeah.
Well,
You were gonna say
my word for my spiritual practice is house cleaning. Is I'm constantly. See, you must be working. See, it must be working because it's attractive.
Yeah.
See, this is another thing, that true spirituality is very, very attractive because it doesn't want.
Yeah.
See, it doesn't want. And this is what I find in my clean heart, in my pure, as you said, you use that word purify several times. As I purify myself, what I find remaining is something much better than I had anticipated. The qualities that I had dreamed about, that I thought I would find maybe happily ever after, really were here all along, sitting inside of me in my own heart. And through this house cleaning process, I'm able to get a vision of this. And then the moment that that's tasted, as I'm sure you have realized, your life will never be the same again, because you've had the actual experience.
No, I like that a lot, actually, when you mention dreams, because I think that's really, at the end of the day, if we were to quantify courage, I need courage for this, I need courage for that, I need courage, I need courage to self-examine myself, I need courage to maintain, to stay where I, on this path. But at the end of the day, I think the ultimate courage is recognizing our dreams and believing in them, and believing that I can create them and experience them.
Yes.
And
it's this, even though right now I don't know how I can, but the courage is like the plus that gets me to there, that makes up the gap between me and what I desire for myself.
Right. Yeah.
Does spirituality make that easier?
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say next, actually, because spirituality recognizes that. I don't think you'll find that anywhere else. You won't, a psychology book won't tell you. I mean, maybe, there are, but I think at the end of the day, spirituality really does get us in touch with our dreams and our heart's desire, that pure heart's desire.
So why is it that it's not so easily recognized by our fellow man that spirituality will help our dreams come true?
Very good question.
So this is how to become a lighthouse. Is simply to be that. Simply be that. If I think of all the individuals who have influenced me in some way, I think, it's not their words. It's the way that they blink or move their hand or do anything, because their every breath is an embodiment of the quality that they're speaking about. And so the courage, for me personally, the courage is to look inside my heart and see the things that are dimming my light. If I really believe that it's my nature to be my dreams. See, I believe that my highest dreams and my natural self are one and the same. They're the same exact thing. So that means, why am I not experiencing that? That's the next question. Why am I not experiencing that? Because there's something blocking my vision of myself. And so my spiritual practice is this process of unwinding, decluttering, cleaning up, enlightening, encouraging, whatever quality or virtue I need. Yes, hello there. Hello there. Hello there. See, it's all,
He's a
well,
little courage.
he feels the energy and though he sees it's his time to strike. he's got you.
Yeah.
Very smart, very smart.
Yeah.
Okay, couple more comments from you.
So far, I think we covered everything. I mean, for me, again, going back to the different levels of courage, me at my stage right now, it's just constantly learning to accept, trust, and surrender, which is, yeah, again, coming from a heart that's pure, that's innocent. Because I look at children and, you know, they look at how the world has changed. For them, it's what changed, you know, they move on, they play,
Right.
they do what they have
They're
to
playing.
do.
That's right. I
Yeah.
often tell people that I teach that I treat everyone like they're 6, and it works.
Yeah.
If someone is 80, 40, or 6, we're all exactly the same, because what age can you put on the soul?
Right.
What age could you put on the soul? So as long as I'm being true, or it doesn't even matter if it's a dog, I take in consideration the dog's intellect, but then the same energy, the same non-violence, not wanting anything, there's no danger. So the first thing I can do for someone is to not be a threat, that they can feel comfortable in my presence, to be exactly how they want, courage to take a step.
So my go-to method is to first find a space within of just being quiet and connecting to a higher source. So if I'm overcome with fear, or if I'm overcome with anxiety or just confusion, it's really important for me, at least, to just be in a quiet space, and however long I need it. So a lot of times people think that, oh my gosh, I need to act now, I need to do something now, because it's life and death. But most things are not, you don't have to act right away. And then sometimes just even being in silence and accepting the situation, that's all you have to do sometimes. Or just accepting that other person. No words need to be said. Just accept the situation. And then from there, I'll get in better touch with what I need to do. And if it's coming from a clear space in my heart, then I'm taking the right step, I think. Yeah.
That's a beautiful segue into the close.
Thank you.
Why don't you lead us in like a 3-minute commentary of just exactly what you just told me about finding a space, and so that we can really do it in real time, because we're all,
Sure.
I would say we're desperate as human beings. We're looking everywhere for something, and just to find something, from your experience, take us through a few minutes of finding that space.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So just find a comfortable position, space. I have my dog here right now, so I'm going to try my best to be more grounded. And just touch base with what I'm feeling right now, what my body's telling me, how my breath is, how my heart rate is, if my muscles are relaxed, if I'm ready to let go. And just slow down. I take a few more breaths. and recognize that in this moment, I choose to take that small step forward of courage. Courage from the heart, from a pure and innocent place, from a place where I'm meant to be, my natural state of love, acceptance, trust, and surrender. I take a few more moments and recognize this space. Remember it. Be thankful for it and recognize that it's within me wherever I go. It's my place where I could gather power and connect to who I truly am, who I'm meant to be, and where my dreams come from, and whom I'm meant to connect with. I think he's telling me that's enough.
That's a perfect timing. Well, you're meant to connect with him.
Yeah,
that was very good. I really experienced it.
Thank you.
I feel that you're coming from a real place, and I trust it.
Thank you. Yeah. This is really nice chatting with you.
It really is. It's nice to get to know you. See,
yeah.
Friday with friends, it's the friends that you're so close, your best friend that you never met. See,
yeah,
this is another thing that spirituality brings to us, is you meet your best friends around the world. I've had the great fortune of probably going to 50 or 100 different centers around the world. And even though they speak different languages and look different, there's something that's exactly the same in everyone. And it feels really good. So
yes.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. I'll be seeing you again. And thank you for your encouragement.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Om Shanti. Bye.
Om Shanti. Bye.